Good evening, everyone, and welcome back for the first time here to PSGL 4 E-Series. This is the second season of E-Series we got here on the PC platform. We had a great start because I forgot to put in the intro. So pretend you saw the intro at the start. If not, you'll see it when the actual PSGL season starts tomorrow. But welcome back, everyone. We're here for a brand new season of E-Series, a brand new whole night and, well, tonight for shenanigans, and also throughout the next 8 weeks of racing. And I'm joined back with Joshua Birch. So, Josh, hello. It's been a long time, but finally we're back together again in the commentary box.
We are, and I'm very honoured to be back here. I want to say a big thank you to Connor for asking me back as well, and also to Jess, who's been very understanding with why I took some time off as well. And both of them have been so supportive. The entire PSGL com team have been supportive, and it's meant a lot. And I'm glad to be back in the saddle with you, Richie, even though it's not F2 what we're commentating on. It's something a little bit more spicier with the E-Series, and I'm so much looking forward to this across the next 8 weeks as well. I did a bit of commentary on this one last season as well. In the first season, I was on 1 or 2 races. I know you yourself commentating on a couple, including the last one. So I love it. It's such a unique prospect what we've got, and it's so much fun to be back in the GTO Mega Chair, relaxing, watching great talent. And tonight we've got the qualifyings to decide who's running and who's racing.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot to get through. We've got the track to get through. We've got the teams, the drivers in the teams, and what lobbies are all going to be in. So yeah, sit tight. We've got a lot to get through. So obviously the qualifying format. We're here today. We've got 3 groups: Group A, Group B, Group C. Group A has got 4 teams in. Group B's got 5. Group C has got 5 teams in as well, who are obviously all competing to get the best combined time, which is the first driver and the second driver's times added together to a combined time. Top 5 get through to E Series with the 5 teams that are already qualified. So we'll have a quick look at them as well on the screen when we can pop them up. There we are. So obviously the teams that are already qualified are Ferrari Esports, Williams Esports, Race Clutch, and RHG, along with the one community team from last season, which is TF10, who finished third in the standings last season. Obviously, we've got Parnell, they're also qualifying this season. Different things have happened, and there's different reasons why they're back to qualify, but we'll talk a little bit about that later. So, Josh, Ferrari, Williams, Race Clutch, and RHC, arguably the 4 best teams in esports. What do you think of that? They're taking part. Obviously, we don't know if many of their esports level drivers will take part because of esports will be coming up soon, but I think we'll probably see a lot of their academy drivers and maybe even their esports drivers take a little chance for a couple of rounds this season.
Well, we saw last year when it was during esports series that a couple of them turned in and a couple of them had a go. Really interesting as well that we had, well, last year we had Ron Ha coming in, doing a couple of races. I remember I was commentating over him in China. So the law of a very good esport strategy always brings in the top talent. So I think we'll see a couple of them sprinkled in. Even without that, qualifying tonight, we've got talent that me and you, Richie, have commentated on from F4 all the way up to F2, and you and me have both done F1 as well. So there's a lot of talent that's, yes, some may say undiscovered, but we know what they're like. We know their talent. We know their speed. So we're going to have competition, no matter if we get top tier esport drivers or F2 or F3. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping already that with those have automatically qualified as well, they're going to pick the best drivers and not, have a sort of situation where we've got drivers who've qualifying tonight who are then going to be faster because they've had more practice with each other. You see that sometimes in these races. I remember last year when we did the F1 22 qualifiers, we had a couple of drivers qualify who won races and then didn't do so well when the tiers were placed. So qualifying time's going to be incredibly important. And I do feel sorry for the teams who've already pre-qualified. They don't get a chance to go out there and sort of see what times they are around with everybody else. It's a nice preseason test.
It is indeed. And we'll have a little look at the teams that are in that first group when we pop them on the screen. So there we are. So we've got TES, Tomosheng Sim Racing. We've got Intrepid Esports, Vroom, FRT. FRT aren't taking part. We've got Kaizen Racing. So a couple of teams on there aren't taking part, which is FRT and NRT. So we've got TES, Intrepid, Vroom, and Kaizen Racing. So a little bit of information about some of the teams in Group A. Obviously, Tomosheng Sim Racing, relatively one of the newer teams in the kind of community team esports sector, obviously owned by the one and only Tomosheng, raced back in Formula 1 in 2001, has, I think, been doing a little bit of rally as of recent, but obviously got a lot of very quick drivers that are taking part in their team. So I'm very excited to see what they can do. I think they can get themselves through to E Series, but we'll see what they've got in store. They've got in their cars today Franek Mroviak and Nelson Alves. Nelson last season drove in Challengers, and Franek as well was an F3 full-time driver. And I don't know if we've had a new lobby because everyone has left my lobby, Josh.
Same here. We have got a new lobby. Apparently crossplay was still on. So we're just waiting for a new invitation to be sent out. And everyone will get in ready to go. But yeah, Thomas Enger, very much a very well respected driver, of course. Had a brief career in Formula One towards the end of the 2001 season as well. Most famously, of course, race. I think he was racing with the Prost team off the top of my head.
Yes, it
It was Prost, because he was replacing Luciano Berti, who had that horrific shunt at Spa-Francorchamps where he collected Eddie Irvine and went straight on at it was Blanchimont, so straight on into the wall at Blanchimont. Horrific accident. Went straight in. It was 3 walls of tires and went straight through the back of them and was buried underneath the car. Luckily managed to get out into hospital, and the wonderful Professor C. Watkins as well was treatment, definitely saved his life that day. And there was also another factor on it, as I don't know about you, but my game has crashed at the moment. It's actually closed down. So another thing as well, that then meant that for the final 2 races of the year, it was United States Grand Prix and then going into the Japanese Grand Prix, they needed a driver. And they'd already lost out on a Lacey early on in the year with Bertie swap around. So it became Thomas Enger going in and having a go, having a race. And he stalled on the grid, yes, in the United States Grand Prix, but actually did okay in the Japanese Grand Prix. So a nice little career in Formula One there. And then, of course, he's become more famous, of course, in World Endurance. And I think he's done some running as well. So Thomas Enger, very much nice to see him now creating an esport team and being with us tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun
Yeah.
when we actually get into the lobby
Well,
for the session.
I'm in the lobby. We're just loading in now. But yeah, a little bit of Thomas Schenker, which I didn't know about, and I'm sure many other people in here didn't know about, which is always nice to know. We can always rely on Josh when it comes to factual information about F1 drivers. And then the second team we got in is owned by Mr. George Morgan, obviously the PCF1 commentator, the best commentator in sim racing. Obviously, he owns Intrepid Esports. They was around about I think it was around about a year ago. They shut down for I think it's about 6-7 months, probably longer than that now.
Yeah.
Reopened yet again. They got lots of Vincent Nightbeast and Jack Humphries who joined the team when they reopened, who I believe are the two drivers who are racing qualifying tonight for Intrepid. I think if they get through, they're going to be a little bit of a dark horse. I think considering they've really recently just jumped back into sim racing and in F1, I don't think that they're a team that everyone thought, oh, they will get through because of they've only come back recently. But with Jack and Vincent has raced in F2 and F3 multiple times. Jack as well. He's raced in F2 and F3. I think they got a great chance with those two. If they can get the right lap times, don't invalidate, they can definitely get themselves through. Then we got Vroom, which I believe are a French team. In their cars tonight, they've got Andre Monard and Jeremy Gallinier, I believe it is. Those two, yet again, very quick drivers. Andre, I don't think I've seen much of him at all on the PSGL side of things. I know he's been in WR recently. Jeremy, a driver that we saw Josh back in F2. He's been, I think he followed us from F4 to F3 to F2 throughout from season 30 to season 33. So he's a driver, if he can get the qualifying time, he's really competitive. So we'll see what he's able to do in the car. And then finally, the final team that is in this group is Kaizen Racing. Some people might have remembered it as Juventus Racing, JR, or I believe now linked with a little bit with LPE, Legacy Pitlane Esports. So two have kind of closed and merged into what is Kaizen Racing. In their car tonight, they got Sebastian Lundell and Serdo Yuvos, two drivers I haven't really seen race much at all. So I'm interested to see what they can get up to in the cars. But yeah, I think we've got a very interesting first lobby, and I think realistically we'll see at least one team from each lobby make it through. Any ideas on who out of this lobby, Josh, you think might be quickest and has the highest chance to get through to E-Series?
To me, Intrepid do look quite good as well with Jack Humphries and Vincent Nyquist. We've commented on them before as well. We know their talent. I've seen Sebastian Lundell as well race a couple of races. I think Omi, who's our fellow colleague here at PSGL on the commentary team, when we've been doing other series together, he's talked about him a couple of times. So there's a lot coming through as to the talent, but what this is going to come down to is setup and how good you are at the track. These guys would have been practicing for hours after this, making sure that when it comes to perform for the qualifying lap, they are there. So it's a short qualifying format, as we know. I'm looking forward to it. We're in. So everyone else is piling in, and we should all be good to go. So I'm going to be looking out for Jack Humphries, Vincent Nyquist, Sebastian Lundell, all at the moment as well in this first lobby. And then I think we're going to see as well Group B have a very lot of fast drivers later on, but we'll talk about that later on as well, because there's 3 groups to get through to qualify and a lot of fast track action to get through, as it looks like everybody are coming in. So finally we can get going. It wouldn't be a return, would it, to PSGL without a little bit of filler? So that's nice to be back, welcoming that torture. I did know, however, in the season I missed, Richie, that what was it? Our colleagues over at F3, was it? Had to fill like an hour and a half, and it just turned into an absolute podcast. I can't remember exactly where.
Remember.
But that was
I didn't do F3 last season. Maybe, but I don't know. You have to ask them yourself afterwards.
Yeah,
but
it was quite funny.
We are getting our way into the session, and I think it's a perfect time to have a little brief chat about the circuit we're qualifying at today.
Yes, absolutely. It is the Losail International Circuit. It is a MotoGP racetrack, but it has been heavily modified in terms of runoff areas for Formula One. 3.34 miles long. That's 5.419 kilometers. Race distance in full. That's 308.611 kilometers. Top speed at this circuit is 7th gear at 260 kilometers an hour, and that's on the way as well into turn one's braking zone at 5th gear, 161. Only one DRS zone on the run down to the start-finish straight. Elevation change is actually quite high in the run up towards turn 16. But this circuit, mainly a bike circuit, but Formula One certainly impressed me when we were here last time out.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're in for a very interesting qualifying session. One thing I think we should know about this circuit is that the track limits are quite a pain, and many drivers struggle with the track limits because it is very touch and go. You go, obviously a millimetre over, you are invalidate, which can really ruin a perfect lap time. Obviously, in here it's all about having realistically the best lap time. Sometimes it could be down to a driver maybe being 2 or 3 tenths off, but if they both have, like for example, maybe a 19.9. Which might be 2 or 3 tenths off the top guys. If they're just consistent with that, they can get them through. Some teams might have a driver with a 19.7 at peak, and the other driver in there might have a 20.1 because they had a bit of a tough session. So I think as much as it is about that raw pace, it's also about the consistency, being able to just keep the car on track, which in hindsight it should be an easy thing to do, but realistically it's not always that easy. But so we've got all the teams now out on track, the 4 teams, which again we'll talk about. Thomas Sugar Sim Racing, Vroom, Kaizen Racing, and Intrepid Esports. The first couple of drivers are out on track. I'm just going to get everything sorted onto the screen shortly. And we can see the first car out is one of the TS guys, and it is Franek Moraviak. Obviously, racing F3 last season. I believe he's back in F3 again this season, so this is a driver I think we should definitely be keeping our eyes on in this session.
Super weird being back in as well. Also, it's really annoying because on my screen it says I'm talking, but push to mute is on. So mute is on, so everything's muted. So I hope I'm not interrupting the drivers at the moment because I've looked and it's not flashing up anywhere else. So that's good. If you're hearing me twice, let me know in the chat. But yeah, out they go then onto the track, all looking nice here at the LaSalle circuit. And I do love this track as well. If you want to get in touch, by the way, with the LaSalle circuit, their email is info@lcsc.qa. If you want to get in touch with the circuit in any way, as to some of the information I bring to the party. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Of course, we're in Doha, where the World Cup took place a couple of years ago. So it's very, very fun.
Indeed, and well, we've got a few coming through to start there first. We've got Franek, who's coming out of the final call to begin the first lap of the E-Series qualifying. He's heading down towards turn 1. Pop the telemetry on for this lap as he heads through to about 318 kilometres an hour in towards that first braking zone at about the 50-metre board. Some on the brakes, down to 5th gear, then you want to be back on the throttle as you come through. Into the left-hander at turn 3, brake just after that 50-metre board, then you can just go back flat on the throttle as you head through to turn 3. Down towards turns 4 and 5, sometimes drivers will actually turn the ERS off so they can actually have enough to finish a lap as you come through there. Then through in 6th gear, keep it flat, then you come down to the braking zone at turn 6 at the hairpin, brake just before that curb. Throw the car into that inside, run wide on the exit as you head through towards turn 7. At the right hand, you want to brake yet again around that entry. Normally, the reference point is just where you feel comfortable braking through there. Then you ride through left at turn 8, then you come back to the right at turn 9, try and use as much curve as you can through there. Then back in towards turn 10. Down to 4th gear, keep it flat through there, keep that throttle on as you come through the exit. Then in towards this flat out section at turns 12. 13 and 14, you do not need to press the brake or lift at all through this whole section. You keep it in around 7th gear. Just keep it flat all the way through. Take the right lines. Use as much curve as you can through there. Then you want to downshift to 6th gear. Use that as the engine brake as you come through towards turn 15. Then you round the final corner at turn 16, where we'll see what time that Franek can set down to 5th gear, get back on the throttle as you come through, up towards the line. We'll see what the first lap is. Normally it's quite a long run down towards that start-finish straight, and it is a 1 minute 19.931 there for Franek the first time. Then we have, I believe it's Jack Humphries who's going to come up to the line to set the first lap for Intrepid. He doesn't beat that. He's about a 10th off there with a 20.096. Vincent's already invalidated, I believe, on his lap. Jeremy goes into 3rd with a 20.6, and Vincent also spins.
Yeah, Vincent getting on the curb and he loses it round at the rear. That's how easy it is to do at Qatar. The curbs, even in the game, true to real life, just so sharp. It just loses the rear of the car. You're carrying so much more speed through as well. So Vincent's in trouble already.
Yep, and you can see now all the first lap times through his Serdar was also, I believe, made an invalidation, so he won't complete this lap. So it's TS at the top of the timings with a 1 minute 19.931 and a 1 minute 20.067. That is Franek and Nelson. Then we had Jack Humphries a few thousandths back from Nelson on a 120.096, and the two Vrooms in 4th and 5th with a 120.1 and a 120.6. And then unfortunately Vincent didn't get a time as he invalidated, then had a spin down at turn 15, and unfortunately None of the KR drives got a lap in. Seb, I'm not sure. I believe he invalidated, but also Serdar invalidated on his first run and on his attempt for a second run. So Kazan currently, with no lap times on the board, that is certainly, Josh, not going to get you through in towards E-Series, is it?
No, it's not. And one thing I know about this track is that in qualifying, before they changed the layout at the F1 Qatar Grand Prix, the fastest lap in qualifying was a 1:23.778. So to do a 1:19.9 in esports, I think that's one of the largest gaps I've ever seen between real life and the simulator. So that is really quite astonishing that the drivers can carry so much more speed compared to it all. So thumbs up. I like it. Well done. A lot of good stuff going on here at the moment. As we're just taking a look at the timing tabs. We've got a document open here, which Big C is going to be writing in all the qualifying times so that we at home can tell you exactly what's going on in terms of qualifying times. So we will know their fastest time and we'll repeat those to you. Interesting enough to say about this circuit, some of the changes that they have made as well with turn 12 to 13. In the game, it is just as tricky as it was in real life as well. You go, as you mentioned, Richie, as well, you go exit there because it's a triple right-hander. You go off there, it just pulls you offline completely. So it acts constantly like a big of a tug of war. You ever done one of those school experiments where you get a weight, you put it at the end with a string on the inside like a needle tube, and you pull the needle tube and you can't pull it back a certain point because the air pressure inside pushing it and the magnet's pulling it the other way. It's the same thing. The car is so tightly strung out coming through that section. You put it on the rumble strip, the rear is just going to go whoop, and that's it, straight round. Wish we had the camera on that point, but it's just going to spin round at the rear, no traction at all. They're so front end stable at that part of the track. It's unbelievable. Qatar, I think, has vastly become a great circuit for Formula One. And I didn't say that after 2021 when it was a dull Grand Prix. But the game has proved that it's a hit with fans. The simulations have proved it's a hit with esport drivers, and the track is a hit with drivers, just the temperature that needs to change.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful track. I think it's one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. It's one of my favourite to drive and also to commentate on because the action, there's always action around this circuit, whether it's qualifying or whether it is the race. But we've got 3 qualifying sessions to get through today. 18-minute sessions, obviously, all going to be in the drive. So I think we're in store for a lot of action tonight, and we're still only just getting started into it. Vincent Nyqvist is now on his second lap, his first lap that he will be able to complete as he heads through towards turns 4 and 5. So we'll just go and board it in quickly as he heads down in towards turn 6. Obviously, his teammate currently in third with the 20.09. He needs to be close to that. If not, he needs to be quicker. I reckon that to get yourself through to E-Series, you're going to need probably both drivers in the 19s, I think. At least a 19.9 for both drivers, I think, to get through.
I would say, actually, that was a good benchmark. I'll go bench as a 119.7. Maybe a 119.8. That's sort of where I'm thinking we're going to see the times coming through. Yeah, look, everyone else says it's a banker lap time coming through on the YouTube chat. Vincent's got this perfectly done, though, as well, as he comes through 12, 13, 14, that section of the track I was talking to you about as well. How lucky, just sort of sucks you in. 7th gear, 250, down to 7th gear, 240 through turn 15. And he's validated the lap time, just a little bit wide at the exit there. And that's how they get you. It's the little twitch, it just puts you off track.
Yeah, yet again, his second lap undone at turn 15. That's where he had his spin on his first lap.
Oh.
This isn't going well for Vincent at all, is it?
Seb either as well. So Seb's lost out in the lap time. He's gone red. We've got Serwo in there too. Vincent's going back out. So yeah, let's have a look at Jeremy as he starts the lap time. Where is he now? Down in... Who is he on the track? Turn 2 and 3. Got traffic at the exit. One of the Aston Martins coming through.
Yep.
This is the tricky part of coming through to 4 and 5. Just... It's a MotoGP track, and look how wide you go. It's a narrow track. It's designed for MotoGP, not Formula One. It's actually quite the fact that Formula One here in the Gulf Air state, Formula One got Bahrain, MotoGP got Doha in Qatar. That's how it is.
Yep, and we've got some information from George Morgan saying that Vincent has a brake fault. So that could possibly cost the Intrepid their place in the E-Series. I think it probably will, because if Vincent's got a fault with his brake and he can't be getting any good times in, or if he can't get a time in, that's going to put them with only one man, and he needs obviously combined times to get through. At 1 minute 20.09 as it's combined, he's not going to get you through. So, we come through now with Andre Molnar. He went purple in that first sector. He did improve by 17 thousandths of a second on our screens as he comes through turn 10. Currently, he's coming through towards 12, 13 and 14 at the long, well, you don't need to brake or lift section. Very nice so far for Andre. Obviously, a driver that we can rely on very well when it comes to qualifying. A very quick driver, always very consistent. So I think he's definitely going to be looking to get through. And he also invalidates at turn 15. And also, he getting in the way there of one of the test cars as they was looking to start their lap. So that's not an ideal scenario at all for Andre. And Jeremy and Andre both invalidating. This is showing, Josh, this track, it's really, really difficult to get these fast times in. We've had, what, 5 invalidations already, and we've had only had about 5 laps that have gone through.
Yep, so not great already, is it? This is just getting absolutely worse. It's traffic at Qatar because they're all going for the same thing at the same time. So they need somebody to go out of kilter here. The Aston we've seen with Frank Moniak as well, he's on a good lap time, gets it through 4 and 5, down to turn 6, down to third gear, 100 kilometers an hour, flicks it through on the inside line, back up on speed. Looking good to me. Just loving the engine singing. They've really updated that this game, haven't they, as well?
Yeah. I forgot this is your first time on this game, isn't it, Josh?
It is, yeah, it is, yeah.
Many improvements, many bugs still in the game, but we'll ignore them for now. We're in a very interesting moment. We'll not talk about the fact that I've made a bad game. We'll just look at the joys of Franek coming through towards that middle sector. He's got through the middle sector and he was up by nearly a tenth of a second, 73 thousandths improvement. That would put him onto a 19.8, which I think is a very, very good lap time and could possibly be a safe lap time to help get Tess through in towards E-Series. Obviously, 5 teams can only go through. We've got 14 taking part in qualifying. So, yeah, only a select few can get themselves through to the E-Series tournament, where there is a £750 prize pool. Franek has the fastest lap. He was over a 10th improvement at 19.815. Nelson's also coming through Salon. He was up on his time as well. Where can he go? He does improve just shy of the 19s, but he gets a 120.007.
So averaging out at a 119.9 then as the combined time, I would say. Very decent stuff coming through at the moment. So that's the one to beat then. And everyone's going to be on that as well. Just having a look at Jack Humphreys as well. 20,000 down at the moment, coming into the last couple of sectors. Out of the last... Oh, he's invalidated already. Made a small mistake at the exit. Didn't pick up on that. He went all 4 wheels off the line. Jack, how much like Lando Norris? Jack, do you want to be? And I don't think he would know because he's pushing again. Has he got enough ERS? No. It's only 15%. He's having to push again. Not much time left. Yellow sectors 2 with 5 minutes to go. Yeah, he should be able to get back into the pits. I'll just bounce back.
Yeah, that's not ideal at all for Intrepid, is it? Jack has had another invalidation. Vincent had another invalidation as well, so he didn't even complete that lap. So 3 laps Vincent has gone for, and only, well, none of them he's completed, unfortunately. So Intrepid are a little bit between a rock and a hard place at this point. They've probably got one more chance this session to get themselves through to a series. They need to at least get themselves, I'd say Jack would like to probably get himself out of the 20s. I know he's got the pace to get himself out the 1 minute 20, so we're just going to have to see what he can do on his final run. And the issue you have when you've got an ideal lap time or you've got no lap time on that final run is that you're going to be under so much pressure to get that lap time and you're going to push more and more, and with the more pressure you put on yourself, the more likely you are to make a mistake. So they're in definitely a very difficult situation. Same with Kazan. They've still got no lap times on the board. Both of their drivers yet again have invalidated on their laps, so they've currently got a 0 minute lap time on the board. So Jeremy's up by a tenth of a second in the first sector. It's an improvement he needs. He's currently on a 1 minute 20.6. That's 5 tenths off of his teammate. It's about 8 tenths, nearly a second off from Franek. So he definitely needs to get himself a big chunk of improvement on this lap. He's coming through out of turn 10 currently, so we'll see what he can do in this middle sector if he gets much of an improvement that is, as he heads through towards that flat out section and turns 12 to 14. He's up by a tenth and a half, so it's a decent improvement, but he needs a lot more than that if he wants to get himself at least close to his teammate. He needs to get at least 3 or 4 tenths in this final sector alone. Through towards turn 15, then he comes back down in towards turn 16. Very clean there for Jeremy. He comes into the final corner, back to the inside, keeps it in 5th gear, runs wide on the exit. That was a very nice sector for Jeremy indeed. Can he put himself ahead of his teammate as he comes up towards the line? He will go second at 19.902. That is a very nice lap time from Jeremy.
Very good, very good. That's getting more like it. The track's getting quicker. They're getting more confident with it as well. So that's basically everyone's that's just going through the room saying, "Come on, what have you got then, everybody? What have you got to beat us?" Thomas Enger sim racing at the top, but Intrepid, they are worried because Vince is not going to do a lap time, but the Red Bulls not got a lap time yet for Kazan Racing, so they've got to get out there, and they are one of them out on that lap, but Seb isn't. Seb's still in the pit lane with 3 to go.
Yeah, Seb's hopefully can get himself out soon, and Serdar's just starting his lap now. He's heading down in towards that first corner, and
dirt on his tyres.
yeah, they definitely need to get themselves a lap on the board, and maybe even if it's not just a quick lap, just any lap to get them through. You never know what could happen in Group B and Group C. Maybe all the drivers in the next 2 lobbies don't qualify. You never know. So they've got to put everything they can into this session, even if they're 3 or 4 tenths off, just to get themselves a lap on the board, just to get them at least something representable to head in towards the final parts of the qualifying with. Obviously, we've still got another 10 teams that will qualify, and we'll talk a little bit about little more about them later. But yeah, Serdar, very decent first sector. We'll see what he can do as he comes through the middle sector. And obviously, we don't need to worry about the penalties because we haven't got a race. So we don't need a race. Well, we will have a restart, but it's for different drivers.
Interesting that they're blocking, though. That's something to take away with it. That the game is deciding that, look, you're now illegal blocking someone. So that could be interesting in terms of qualifying run. Jamie's retired from the session, so that's it then for him. He's done his qualifying at the moment for Vroom. Let's see what they can do in the Alpines.
Yep, they're, well, Andre needs to improve. He's on the 20.157. Serdar's invalidated again, yet again. So,
just
Kazan are not going through with the lap time at this point for Serdar.
He's not going to have enough energy deployment to do another lap as well. He's only on 22% coming out the last corner down the straight. So, he's got to go for it there because there's only 1 minute 30 on the clock. And Seb's going to do it. So, yeah, this is not looking good. This is really not looking good for Kazan Racing.
It's not. We're on board with Nelson. Obviously, raced in Challengers last season in 2022. I'm not sure where about he finished, but I believe he did get a couple of points position. So we'll see what he can do when we come to the final part of this session. He's currently just shy of the 19s of the 1 minute 20.007. His teammate, however, is nearly 3 tenths up the road. Well, nearly 2 tenths up the road on a 1 minute 19.815, which is absolutely stellar lap from Frank to do it on his second lap. He's still got a third lap to go. We can still improve on that 1 minute 19.8. But Nelson's now heading down in towards the first corner for the final time in this session to see what lap time he can set on the board.
Very good exit as well out of 1. Takes a nice curve entry into 2 and 3. Now pulls it back up. 4 and 5. 6th gear, 215 down to 200. So you lose 15 kilometers to this section of the track. Just lift up, turn the car in, get it planted. Having to control a lot on the steering wheel actually as well. So he wasn't as planted as he wants to be. Down to turn 6. Flicks the car in to the left-hander. Nice sort of 80-degree turn on the wheel as you head back down. Not quite full needed the 90. It's just so flowing, this circuit. You come through 7, 8, and 9. One of my favourite sections on a Formula 1 track, or any track actually. It's great on a MotoGP bike because you lift the bike up, and as you're lifting it up, you're sort of going straight on into the corner. So it's one smooth motion from left to right. In a Formula 1 car, it's more chunky, having to go right, left, right on the steering wheel. A lot of control links. But he's up in the middle sector with Nelson by a 10th. So he's already quicker than Frank as well, which is great. Through 14, bit too much entry curb there. Serco has retired from the session. But Nelson's taking a lot of exit curb, risking losing the lap time, but he is mega fast at the last corner. Checker flags out, gets a great exit. 205 meters to the DRS activation point. He's got it open across the line. Is it quicker than a 1:19.815 for Nelson? No, it's a 1:19.926 though. Very good time to get him in there to the 1:19s.
Yep, and Seb has invalidated yet again. I'm trying to find who's next on the lap. It's Andre Molnar heading through out of the final corner. We'll see what he can do as he heads up towards the line. His teammate on a 1 minute 19.9. Can he get close or can he even beat his teammate as he heads up towards the line? What will it be for Andre Molnar? He will be just shy of his teammate with a 1 minute 19.915. Then we've got the 2 Intrepids to come through. First of all, we've got Jack Humphries as Frank Maverick improves by a 1/10 of a second, a 1:19.737. As,
I said that's the benchmark, and I was right.
That is an amazing lap. Absolutely superb. Vincent gets a 1 minute 20.5, and Jack Humphries doesn't improve. I don't think. We'll see what he can do. But Franek Mraviak, take a pat on the back because that lap is an absolutely stellar lap. I believe in Tier 1 or F1, I think Lucas did a 19.6. So, what a lap that was. So, in this session, Franek was quickest there by over a 1/10.5 to Jeremy in second, then Andre Molnar in third with a 19.9, then Nelson Alves in fourth with a 1 minute 19. 19.926. Then we have Jack Humphries, who did improve into a 19.953, and Vincent Nevis, who unfortunately had a 120.5. And then the two Kaizen Racing guys didn't set a lap. So that is pretty much they're out of E-Series, unfortunately, because they haven't got a lap time on the board. But I think Tess are probably through on the basis they got a 19.7. And then Nelson's only 2/10 back on a 19.9. That is a great start for them. As well, Vroom, 19.9s across the board. Depending what the teams can do in Lobby 2 and 3, I think they've also got a decent chance to get themselves through towards E-Series. But yeah, a great way to start it off, Josh. We'll pop ourselves back on the camera screens, as obviously we're going to get started for Lobby 2 shortly. And we forgot to talk about the calendar. So should we talk about the calendar now, because we have a little bit of time?
Absolutely, and taking a look at the calendar, we start, of course, on the 1st of November, as we just get ready for the second lobby to come in. So we start on the 1st of November, that will be at the Bahrain International Circuit. A week later, on the 8th of November, we are at Interlagos as well. That is for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix event. Third race is on November the 15th, and that is at Silverstone as well. Race 4 takes us to November the 22nd in the streets of Monte Carlo. That's going to be very frightening as well, and very close action. Love it when we go e-racing there. On the 5th race, on the November 29th, we're at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. Round 6 of the season takes place on December the 6th in America, but at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. The 7th race of the season takes part on December the 13th in Japan at Suzuka. And the last race of the E-Series takes place on the 20th of December, round 8, at the Jeddah Corniche Circuit in Saudi Arabia as well. So that's our 8 rounds across the championship, going every Wednesday from November the 1st until December the 20th. But we do reserve the right to change it to Fridays mid-season if anything has to crop up. That is the option. But right now, the calendar states that we are going to be racing on Wednesdays every week from November until December and Christmas time.
Yep, and we are getting ourselves in towards the second lobby. And Josh, the first friend code we got sent was the incorrect one. There has been another one popped into the Group B chat, so you can add the person on Steam, and then we can get ourselves through. As we got pretty much everyone ready for the second lobby, so we'll have a quick look at the team. I'm in there, yes. We'll have a quick look at the teams for the second lobby. Group B it is, and you can see there. So we've got NLR Esports, WOR Esports, ET8 Esports, FVR, and then British Army Esports. So a little bit of information about the different teams. So NLR, a team that they've been around for quite a long time, a team I've seen pretty much since I started my commentary, and they're very, very successful when it comes to PlayStation. They've got a few drivers in the PSF1 tier on PlayStation. PC, yet again, they've really started to up that team, and they've got a lot more quicker drivers. They've got tonight Exafox and Ivan Santamaria. Ivan used to be part of FVR, I believe was in F4 at one point, and Exafox as well. He's racing around that F4, F5 too. And thank you as well to Louis Claydon for the donation of 79p. Thank you indeed. That is very, very appreciated. So the second team we got is WOR. Now, honestly, a team I don't think will get through, as they used to be very quick back in the day, but as of recent, they just haven't. It just seems in any team that they go, they just don't get everything quite together. They haven't got slow drivers at all. They've got very quick drivers. It just seems they don't really seem to get everything they need in preparation, and I think that could be a thing that I think could put them at a disadvantage. But we'll see what they can do. As obviously, they can always try and fight back and get themselves through. Then we've got ETA. I'd say probably arguably the most well-known community team. They've been around for absolutely years. They've had so many floods of talent go through. So I think they're definitely a team we should be looking at. They've got Leo Lund and Bogdan Moldvan. Bogdan, a driver that me and Josh know very well, back from the Season 30 F4 days. Yeah. Leo Lund, a driver that coming, I believe, around that Season 31, Season 32 time. He, I believe, races in F4 or F3 at the moment. So he's yet again another driver who should be looking to get ETA through. I think they're a team that will be disappointed if they didn't make it through to E-Series, considering how long they've been through and that legacy that they carry with them in every single event they turn up to. Then we've got FVR, a team as well, which, well, from my knowledge, closed down a few months ago. But it seems they came back again, and well, they've got Kodo Ngolo and Javier Domine, two very quick drivers. Javier, I think, took part in FXR, and Kodo Ngolo was part of FVR for a long time, a very quick driver as well. So I think those two would be probably, if they can get those lap times in, they can be at their normal pace, could probably get themselves through. 2 series. And then finally, we have British Army Esports, and a team, unfortunately, I don't know much about at all. They've got Dangerous Dodo 1 and Carbon Shadow in their lineup. I don't know who they are. I know Carbon Shadow is from the Creator Series, but I'm not sure about the team on a whole, so I'm very interested to see what they have in store for us, as to me, they're a little bit of an unknown. So we'll see what they manage to do in this qualifying session, but I believe we'll get underway very shortly for the second group, which yet again, Josh, we're at Qatar. Oh, that's the same question again. Which team do you think will top the timings?
ET8 are very fast. For what we've seen, WR have got that half-second time penalty to contend with as well. It's going to be really interesting. My money, ET8, I think, is going to be on the list for that one to look very good. It's like we've got a massive board in front of us, and you've got your piece of chalk, and you're writing on it as well all these times and striking them off as well, time by time. It's going to take a long time to get everything sorted, but we do know that Thomas Enger Sim Racing, their total time was 159.663. Vroom was a 159.817. And Intrepid Esports a 160.455. So at the moment, it is Thomas Enger Sim Racing who are topping the qualifiers from Vroom and Intrepid. That's Intrepid at the bottom, but we know that Kaizen Racing are out because they didn't set any meaningful lap times. So that's what we're seeing on the moment on our graphic, is showing that Thomas Enger Sim Racing a 159.663 with the combined times have put them on top.
That is, I think, going to be a very competitive time, and possibly, I'm going to say this now, could maybe be the quickest time in total combined, because a 0.7 and a 0.9, a 0.7 itself is very quick, a 0.9 is also quick, but I think, yeah, that is great. A 0.6 combined is definitely, I think, going to get them through. We can't, put our hands on it, but I think more likely than not, they're going to get through. But yeah, I forgot to mention, WR, Josh, as you mentioned, have a half a second penalty for submitting their, I believe it was submitting their lineup or changing the driver a little bit too late. So they have 0.5 seconds added to their time, which I think is going to really harm them. Considering how close we've seen the likes of Vroom and TES, 2/10 apart, going into the end of Group 1, to have a 5-second penalty, a 5/10 penalty, sorry, that's going to really harm your chance of getting through.
Yeah, it really is, and it's a lot more worrying coming in as well, isn't it? So it's going to be frightening. It's going to be interesting. I really need to figure out how to mute that thing. I'm the only one speaking. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun coming through.
It is.
Group B is just getting ready, so
I believe
that's all set.
Yeah, we'll get away in very shortly. We've got everyone in the lobby. We've got 10 drivers, so this time obviously there's 5 teams instead of 4. So let us know in the chat as well. Who do you think will top the timings in this session? You can give us a driver if you want to be that specific, or just give us a team. We've got FVR, NLR, British Army Esports, ET8, and WOR. So let us know who you will think will top it. And
yeah, just having a look. I was just having a look with the penalties as well in the rule book that we get given. Failing to submit lineup in time, qualifying ban for both drivers. That would be a normal thing if we were in a race. So that is changing the driver too late as well coming in. So using a driver not on the lineup, late use of reserve, qualifying ban for the driver involved. Entering a round with a single car is a qualifying ban. Failing to enter any car for a round is removal from the event. So that's sort of the coming in. But this was the in case of rules breaches in pre-qualifying rule that's been added to the book in the pink text. Failure to submit lineup in time is half a second for each qualifying driver. Late use of reserve driver is half a second to the reserve driver as well. And don't forget, you're not allowed to use organized slipstreams because that's a second for every driver involved. Not allowed to use track limits as well in a known area where there's not going to be qualified in the game, but we could see it. That's a second. Retiring on the track, that's a second. So that's why we couldn't see anybody backing in when they had poor laps with 2 minutes to go. Qualifying interference, 2 seconds for the offending driver, and deliberately crashing is disqualification. Now, do you remember the qualifying interference? Just wondering if that's going to be looked at because we did see a couple of drivers getting penalties on that front as well. So just wonder if that might be taken into consideration going forward.
I think pretty much all the time that is a glitch, but
hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I think every time someone was bot, there was on an outlap, so that won't be looked into at all. But we look in the chat, and FedEx says NLR, surely. Cameron's dad says ET8. Snatch says NRT. They're not taking part, Snatch. And then Broken Britain says WOR and T27S says ET8. So a lot of votes there, primarily for ET8 with 2, and NLR also getting a shade along with WR. It seems FVR and British Army Esports really being left a little bit without support at this point. So show them support, some support in the chat. We're in the session. You can see it on your screen at the moment. We're just going to get everything set up, and then we'll see the 2 drives to go out on track already, which are the Ferraris of ET8. Bogdan Moldovan will be the first to head out on track with his teammate, Leo Lund, sitting right behind.
Yep, here we go again then. See what they're going to have. Bogdan's going to be is a very fast driver. We've seen it several times, so I'm not exactly too surprised about what we're going to see in a second. If I can get my graphics on. There we go.
Coming through in towards the first sector. So Bogdan, a driver we've seen many times before. He's currently racing in F3, racing in F2 a couple of seasons ago, also raced in F4 back in season 30. So he's a driver I've seen a lot, and I think he also does pretty much every team event that ET8 signs up for. So he's got a lot of experience, especially when it comes to qualifying. So we'll see what he's able to do in his car. And then we've got Leo Lund as well, another driver who I believe, I think he won, mate. I think it was F5 a couple of seasons back. Or he was at least at the top of F5 a couple of seasons back. I believe now he's maybe in F4 or even in F3. So he's another driver I think we should be keeping our eye on in this lobby. And I think if they can get themselves consistent lap times, they've definitely got a chance of getting themselves through. I think, they're looking probably around it. They're looking probably at 19.9, I think, these two. Maybe a 19.8.
We know the track's got it. We know the setups have got it, but how quick are you in changing the setups? How quick are you getting through with stuff? So we're going to be in for a situation where you've got to sort of just throw the car in and go for it. And hopefully you'll get it stuck somewhere.
Yeah, I think if you know you've got the pace, you can maybe take that first lap to be a little bit more cautious just to get yourself a decent bank. And then when it comes to the final lap, you can, there's nothing to lose at that point. Just go as quick as you can, cut as much curb as you can, use as much speed as you can in towards the apexes, and hopefully it all goes well and you can get yourself a really nice lap time on the board. So we've got Bogdan coming out the final corner. He's heading down towards first one, Josh, to begin the first lap time in group being the first lap time for ET8.
Yep, downhill in towards the first corner, of course, after being up in its turn 1, so it's a tighter inside line for a double apex. It swoops back into turn 2 as well, and hug the inside line, back up 5th gear, 200 kilometers an hour. Then it comes through 4 and 5, sort of doubles up with 2 right-handers, flick the car in, sort of don't move the steering wheel that much, because if just completely unsettles you at the exit. Turn 6 then, very tight hairpin, designed for MotoGP. You can see the long lap loop that they have to take for penalties just at the exit there as well. Good first sector time. Now swooping, turn 7, 8 and 9. As I said, the bike sort of sets up at this point and drifts back in. In a Formula 1 car, you're doing a lot of controlling on the steering wheel. It's quite difficult to get it in. Back through turn 10, gets it back in. So all looking strong as they head down. Swoop through 11. Now turn 12, 13, 14. Just listen. No lift of the throttle in any segment of the track. Stays in 7th gear, about 260, 250 kilometers. Use the engine braking, as Richie said. Takes it down to 6th gear. Back into the last corner, then turn 16. Drop down 5th gear in an esport car. Realise they do it in about 4th gear. Same amount of speed, though, 165. Down the straight, 205 meters, you get the DRS. And across the line, banker lap is a 1:20.085. So we know the track's 3/10 quicker than that, and it will be 3/10 quicker than that.
Yeah, very nice there for Bogdan indeed. His teammate Leo unfortunately invalidated his lap. Ivan Santamaria is heading down towards the first sector and is trying to catch a driver who has set a lap. What about Smassier? He completed the lap, but unfortunately it was invalidated. It would have been a 1:20.649. Javier Domine is coming up towards the line. What can he set in his FVR car? He goes quickest with a 1:20.025. We've got we've got Carbon Shadow coming through on an out lap, and then we got behind him Rarity, who's heading up to line to finish his first lap for WOR. That's a 1:21.408. Now that, needs to find at least a second in that to put themselves through towards E-Series. So a lot of time needing to be going there for Rarity, but I'm sure he's got that in the bag definitely when he comes through towards his next couple of laps. We got Ivan Santamaria heading through into the final corner. We'll see what he can set on his lap time. I believe Codal Ningolo had an invalidation. He's headed back in towards the pits. So what can Ivan Santamaria do? Up to line. 1:20.115 pops him into third, just about a 10th back from Javier, but still a decent banker lap.
Good bankers coming in, but I'm surprised we're not seeing stronger times coming in straight away. Why we're not seeing everyone just take their setups and go for it, I don't know. Because they should have been practicing. They would have been practicing.
Well,
But yeah, I'm slightly worried.
it does come down to raw pace. Sometimes this might be a track that some drivers like, some drivers might not like the track. That it can always come down to that because it's a track which I think is pretty difficult. You've got to get the flow perfect. If you're not in the flow, you're going to lose so much time, especially when you're coming in towards that middle sector through turn 7 down in towards turn 12. You lose so much time through there, and also in the first couple of corners. So, one slight mistake, being a little bit too far to the left or a little bit too far to the right from turn 1 could mess up all the way in towards turn 4, because you're then got to carry that speed out of turn 3, then that bit of a mini straight into 4. So, it's one of those tracks, it's not very forgiving when you make one mistake. One mistake doesn't ruin one corner, it could ruin the next 2 or 3, and then maybe the next possible straight that's ahead. So that can also, that's also a reason why drivers are struggling so much. We've got Carbon Shadow on a lap. He's set his lap. He did a 1 minute 23.863. Needs to find a lot of time in that one, but I'm sure he's going to be able to, as he's heading round, I believe, we'll keep on board him. I'm not sure if he's on a lap time or not. No, he's not. He's got no battery.
5, yeah.
So he'll be back off in towards the pit lane. We've got Exafox on an out lap. Exafox, obviously, I don't know about PSGL. I know racing WR in Tier 3 was a very quick driver there from the one race I commentated over there. So I think he's definitely a driver we could be looking out for. Can he beat his team out? I'm not sure, because I know Ivan's very quick, but we'll see what he's able to produce. We've got Kodun N'Golo.
I was about to say, watch out for Kodun N'Golo. We've commentated on Kodun N'Golo before, and he's a very, very fast driver.
Yeah, he's heading through out of turn 7. Yeah, he's been in FVR, I think, for pretty much since it started. He's been there a long, long time. He's a very quick driver, I believe. He's been in league racing for 2 or 3 years, so he's very, very quick indeed. He's got a lot of experience under his back, so I think he's, yet again, if he can get his lap time sorted, he can deal with pressure well, which is also another key thing. So, yeah, I think he could help get FVR through. They currently got their driver at the top, though, with a 120.025, so we'll see what he's able to do. The next Fox is on his lap.
Yeah, just because Exafox is on a first sector lap time, looking very good as well, controlling the exit through the first couple of corners. This is down to turn 6, so he already passed the first sector with a 26.308. So very good opening time here. A lot of exit curb going to be used there. Yep, thought so. Just saw the car too tight on entry. It's going to drift out wide. Oh, that's running the limits of track at the exit there. It's a very scruffy second sector actually coming out of turn 10. Takes a lot of hugging through 11. Now watching through 12. 52.854 second sector. Yeah, car's unsteady coming through 13. Multiple corrections of the wheel through 14. Early entry into 16. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a bizarre one in my book.
Well,
what if it is fast?
Yeah, it was decent. You've run a little bit wide on the exit of turn 16. So he comes up towards the line. We'll see what he can do. Can he beat his teammate, who's on a 1 minute 20.115? He does a 1 minute 20.008 and goes quickest. Well, he's definitely got a lot of time to find in that, because that wasn't the cleanest lap either. So, yeah, we'll see what he can do on his next lap, because he should get at least a couple of tens in that.
So fast in the third sector. The second sector's got to have some work done to it, but that third sector was actually quite nicely held. He picked it up nicely after turn 14.
He did, and Kodun N'Golo's gone quickest in sector 2 on our screens. He's heading through towards turns 13 and 14 now. We'll see what he can do when he comes up towards the line. He's currently heading down towards turn 15. Down to 6th gear, you want to keep it flat through there. Just use the engine braking through that corner. Then you come down towards turn 16. Normally down to about 5th gear. Some drivers use 4th. Kodun decides to go into 4th gear through. Then he obviously shoots back through as he comes up the exit. Gets the DRS down towards the start finish straight. We'll see what Kodun N'Golo can set. A 1 minute point 9, a 1:19.962 goes quickest. That's a very clean time.
Beauty.
Very nice time.
Beauty.
Yeah, that's well.
Is the Aston Martin the quickest car? It's 2 sessions running now, isn't it?
It's looking like it. Indeed. We'll keep that one to bed, Josh, because you know what people are like. They'll start talking about this and they'll be saying they want the Aston Martin in the third lobby. Then we'll have about 5 teams saying we all want the Aston Martin. Well, back at the start of the season, it was the quickest car. Wouldn't probably say that now.
It does say in the car selection, Article 9.2, car allocations will be random.
So Javier's coming down towards turn 10. He's on a lap time. His team obviously quickest with a 19.9. Very nice lap indeed from Kodun. Obviously, Frantic set the fastest time of the session in lobby 1 with a 1 minute 19.737. Javier's up by 10 thousandths in the middle set to that. It's enough, but it's not an improvement he would like. He'd like probably a 10th improvement, not tenth of a tenth. He's coming through at turn 15. He'll head down towards turn 16, down to 5th or 4th gear. In there, he chooses 4th gear as well. Then he'll get back on the power, 5th on the exit to get that traction. Gets the DRS, heads towards the line. We'll see, can he improve as Leo Lund goes quickest there with a 19.822. That is another great lap. Thomas Javier improves by a 10th. 1.3 tenths in that final couple of corners. He gets a 19.897. The track is evolving quickly and the drivers are finding so much time in their laps. And at one point you were thinking the lap times from Ivan was competitive. Now he's only in 7th as Rarity went up into 6th with a 1 minute 20.091.
Leo Lund doing absolutely brilliant for ET8 Esports then as well with that top time. Just want to quickly point out, in case of identical combined times, the higher placed team will be the one having achieved the single best lap time as well. So whoever had the single best lap time that wasn't in the combined identical would have the place. So that's just information, because I know looking at the timings, we're getting to the point where we might have a couple of identical combined times.
And Ivan Santa Maria heads up towards on. What can he set? A 1 minute 20.013. Bogdan Moldovan set a 1 minute 20 flat. So there's 13 thousandths between 4th, 5th, and 6th. That is ET8 Bogdan Moldovan and the 2 NLRs of X-Fox and Ivan Santa Maria. X-Fox is out on track on an 8 lap along with Carbon Shadows, currently on a 1 minute 23.8. He needs to find a lot of time in that car. And WR as well, a 120.0 and a 120.5. Remember, Massier had his lineup submitted penalty late, so he's got half 10. So he's currently, you could say, on a 1 minute 21 flat.
Yeah,
so,
was it 121.017?
Yeah.
That would be the combined lap time that he'll be facing. So that's quite worrying, actually. He needs to pick up that half a tenth that he needs to get in.
Indeed. So he's heading through in towards. He's either. No, he's not. He's in the pit lane. It was one of the NLRs that I was looking at. Extra-Fox is just ahead of Carbon Shadow on track. So, yeah, one of them's heading back in. One of them's heading out onto their final lap. Caldon Ngolo is also on track to get ready to begin his final lap. And then shortly we'll see the top two coming out. But yet again, FVR, ET8, they're also looking competitive at the moment. I think Vroom, ET8 and FVR are probably within the same couple of tenths of a second, I think. Because they're very close. We got an 8 and a 9. We got an 8 and a 20 flat, and then we had room with a 9 and a 9. So I think this is probably going to be around a 0.7 to 0.8 combined for both of those teams as well.
Very interesting deltas coming up.
Yeah, X-Fox is heading down towards the first corner, down to 5th gear. Gets back on the power as he exits turn 1 through towards turn 2. Obviously, dab on the brakes, get back onto the throttle as you come out of turn 2 through. In towards turn 3. Obviously, we'll see what he can get any improvements in this first set. Down in towards turns 4 and 5, just throw it to the right. Then to 6th gear, keep it flat through there just to pull the car around with the rotation on the throttle. Is he up in that first set? Yes, he is, by a tenth of a second. Currently looking at a 1 minute 19.9. If he can put this second and third sector also very cleanly and very, very flowy. He comes through at turn 8, in towards turn 9, the right-hander. Very nice Soho, then towards turn 10. Obviously his teammate there just sitting a few 5 thousandths back from him on a 120.013. So if he can get himself into maybe a 19.9 or 19.8, he could also be in a decent position to put NLR through. So he's up by just under a tenth and a half, which will put him on a 1 minute 19, and he invalidates on the inside at turn 14.
No.
And that is not normally where you see someone invalidate, so he's ruined his that completely. He has to head back into pits, and now, if he's got another set of tyres, has to go again. So that would have been good enough for a 19.8 mid. That has all been thrown in the bin because of that slight early turning at turn 14, and it's not something I normally see down there, so he's definitely not going to be happy with that one. Codon Ngolo's heading through towards the end of the first sector currently. We'll see if he's up. He's up by just over half a tenth, so that's good enough to put himself into the 19.8. If he can keep it hooked up through the second and third sector. His teammate, remember, he's on a 1 minute 19.897. So FVR, if they can get both their drivers into the eights, they're automatically quicker than Vroom.
So this is looking very strong then. Oh, big snap for Colin Igolo, and that's the lap time gone. Backed off, so didn't lose it, but it's gone. Just big snap, drifted off track, and all that hard work evaporated with 3 minutes to go.
And Dangerous Dodo on a lap, he's heading down towards turn 6, currently up by 2.5 tenths in that first sector. He's heading out of turn 6 now, through towards turn 7, shortly want to break just on the entry of the corner, down to normally 5th or 4th gear. You go down to 4th and you can use the upshift to 5th for a bit more rotation and throttle. As you head in towards turn 9, then back in towards turn 10. He's cutting on a 1 minute 27, 1 minute 21.7. His teammates on a 1 minute 23.8. So lots of improvements needed for both of those teams to get them through in towards the series. And he's up by now 6/10 of a second, so that's good enough to put himself onto a 1 minute 21.1. He still needs to find over a second if he wants to get himself comfortably within that top 4, top 5. He's heading through at turn 15, now coming through in towards turn 16. We'll see if he can get himself any improvements in that final sector. As he heads through out of turn 16, through with the DRS shortly up towards the line. A few more drivers now just heading out on their outlaps. What can Dangerous Dodo do? A 1 minute 20.7. That puts him still in ninth. He improved by a second, but I'm not sure if that second is enough.
Yep, so it looks like it looks like coming in as well for the British Army Esports, not going to do too well.
Yeah,
That's
definitely
annoying.
not what they would like. It would have been nicer to see them go through, but I don't think it's looking possible at this point with their lap times.
So, coming up with 2 minutes to go then in this second qualifying group. And right now it's Leo Lund who's done a 1:19.822, and his teammate Bogdan Moldovan with a 1:20 point dead, which gives him an average of a 1:19.922. So very good to put them in between.
Yep, that would be very nice for them indeed, and we'll see what they can get at the end of the session. Obviously, they can both find improvements. Leo Lund, we know, is a very superb qualifier. Bogdan as well. And, oh, well, that's an interesting way to look at the circuit. I believe it was just to get the way Carbon Shadows heading through out to turn 10. So very nice there of Leo to completely move out the way and not worry about getting in the way of the McLaren. So we've got the two NLRs sitting behind in the Haas, X-Fox and Ivan. Then we've got the two WRs sitting behind them. And then we got an
Carbon Shadows lost the lap time. Sorry, Richie. Cut the corner of the entry to turn 15 and spun it round as well. So it was looking good. He was 9/10 up on his own best lap time, but just a snap, and that's it, gone. So I think the British Army Esports are completely done now.
Yeah, definitely. A 1 minute 23.8 is certainly not going to get yourself through. So we had, I think it was X-Fox there, overtake Leo Lund coming out of turn 15. He wants to get on with his lap. And Leo Lund's coming out the final corner. Bogdan's already started his lap, so we're going board with Bogdan Moldovan. He's coming through out of turns 2. Coming through in towards turn 3 now, and then he'll head down towards turn 4. We'll see what improvements he can get in that first sector. Remember, he's on a 1 minute 20.000. Would definitely like an improvement. Can he get any improvements in that first sector down towards turn 6? Yes, he can. Only 5 thousandths, but it's still an improvement. He's still got the... Oh, yeah, no! That's that lap done for Bogdan. Big mess up. Big... you know, he's just obviously put the power down too early on the exit of turn 6, and he's off the cut, lost the car. So that's a big shame for Bogdan, but that is his session complete. What about Leo Lund? It's all down to him now for ETA. He's up by, well, he's gone purple in the first sector. He's up by 33 thousandths. Max Verstappen in that first sector. He's coming through towards turn 7 as Javier Domine goes quickest now by 1,000th of a second with a 1:19.81. That is a perfect lap time for him. So we'll keep on board with Leo Lund as he's heading down towards turn 10. But yeah, this is a very good improvement so far. Would be quick enough to put himself into the 1:19.7s, which only one driver's done so far, which was Mravik with a 1:19.737. He's up by 39,000, so he's still improving now in that second sector. The third sector is left for him, and we'll see what he can do through there.
So that's 38 thousandths faster than Javier as well. You've got to remember, used the engine braking a lot. Didn't think he lifted, but it was a bit messy through 15. He's carrying so much speed into 16. Hugs the inside line a bit too much, gets the exit curve wrong, and loses the lap time. Just too wrong, too nervous, I think, coming out of that last sector. And annoyingly, it would have been faster. Yeah, by 18 thousandths. Wow.
Big shame. So Bogdan's done in the session. He retired on 1:20.000. X Fox goes third with a 1 minute 19.910. All right, Cordon N'Golo, can he get himself ahead of the NLR Ite or his teammates? He goes third. He puts himself ahead of X Fox with a 1 minute 19.862. And I think that, that will put FVR quicker than Vroom. They'll have a 1:19.8 average at least. I'm not sure what the specific is of that, but still very good for them. ETA would have probably liked to get Bogdan in the 1 minute 19s, but still a 0.8. That's decent for Leo. Could have obviously found a little bit more time, of course. Obviously made that mistake in the final couple of corners when he invalidated at turn 16. But still, so we'll have a little run through, and you can see the top two separated by 1,000th of a second. Javier Domine on a 1 minute 19.821, and then Leo Lund on a 1 minute 19.822. Cordon N'Golo in third with a 1 minute 19.862. Then we have X Fox and Ivan Santamaria in fourth and fifth. Bogdan Moldovan, who retired on his final run, he's on In sixth, with a 1 minute 20.000. Then we have the two WORs, Rarity and Massier. Massier has a half a second penalty, so he will pretty much have a 1 minute 21.017. And then we have finally the two British Army Esports cars, a 120.761 and a 123.863. So we've come to the end of that. We'll get ourselves back on the cameras quickly before we have a little look at the final lobby. So I think we should, Josh, I think for this lobby, not mention what the combined times are, because then we'll give it away who's got through. And we look to that grand finale at the end. So we've got that sneak peek from Tess and Vroom with the 1 minute 19 point, was it an 8 and a 119.9 average.
Yeah.
So we'll see at the end what Lobby 2 had in store. But I think very good from ETL. I think they could look to get themselves through along with FVR as well. And then our third lobby, Josh, we've got 5 yet again, other very competitive teams. And I'd say this is the most competitive lobby. We'll have a little look at it now on our screen. And it is SRT, F7R, ABS, Team Shazoo, and Pono Racing. That is 5 very, very competitive teams. Streamline Racing team we know as people probably call them a bit of a meme team, but they've got very good drivers. They've got Louis Welch, Jack West, all of those lot taking part for them. A team that, yeah, people find very entertaining, which is to say the least. I believe is owned by Mr. Luke Humphries, the owner of WOR. Then we have F7R, 1 point with TF, 1 point with PSR. Now F7R, they're going to be taking part yet again. A team that has primarily got drivers from the PlayStation. There we are. PlayStation side. I completely lost everything there. The PS side, obviously, lots of Kian, Bradley, all those lot taking part for them. We got ABS, pretty much a French team. They got Tenor Rocher, their one and only, very, very grandstanding driver. Then we got Team Shazoo, who were at one point were one of the best teams. TES pretty much stole all their drivers, and they haven't got the best roster, unfortunately, but they have got Ewan Lineauer, who's a F3 driver. And then finally, we've got Pono Racing. We'll kind of leave that one because I don't know too much information about that, apart from the fact they got second in E Series and they don't really exist. So we'll leave them and we'll leave that one for everyone else to discuss. Not an area I want to get myself involved in, that's for sure.
Well, I've just we can obviously we're not saying, but the excellent stewards behind the scenes are tallying up the times, and I'm seeing it on my laptop in front of me getting tallied in. Richie, I hope you're watching it as well.
See it.
You can't see it. Oh well, I've had a look at it. I can see it.
I've got it now.
Yeah, it looks very entertaining, doesn't it? And just looking down who hasn't qualified is a very interesting fact for me as well to see. I can't wait to announce that later after the third qualifying group. So, this is, of course, pre-qualifiers because we've got one more group to go.
All I'm going to say is there's 2 teams that have qualified at the moment that are 5 thousandths apart combined. 5 thousandths of a second apart. That is, that is very, very close. And then at the top, those 2 teams are separated by 20 thousandths of a second. So there's going to be teams that are going to be annoyed because teams are going to be losing a position.
Yeah.
They're going to be losing positions by 0.5 of a second.
It really is that. It really is. It's a weird thing as well. In terms of the quickest times.
It is interesting indeed. And we're going to be getting our way in towards the third lobby soon. I was going to get myself into the lobby and then we'll talk about the drivers that are taking part for the selected teams. So we'll head our way in and we'll have a little look at lobby 3. So for SRT, we've got PCF2 champion Jack West alongside PCF1 driver in PCF1 many times, Louis Welch, the people call him the pad goat, one of the best drivers in the scene on the controller. Then we got for F7R, Keen Goldendorp and Tycho Hardy. Tycho raced in F2 multiple times in the past. I believe also both of them have raced in PSF1 and took many race victories and podiums over there, but I'm not quite sure. PS isn't my expertise. ABS, we've got Tony Rocher and Harry Nuns. Tony Rocher, yet again, probably the quickest driver in that team from what I know. He's a very quick driver. Probably one of the quickest French drivers in the scene. Then in Shazoo, we have Ewan Lineauer and Alan Banazak. Alan Banazak, a driver I haven't seen at all before, so this will be very interesting. And then finally, we have Pono Racing with Shimon Komsky and Daniel Kjelsen. Obviously, Daniel in WR, champion in season 14. This season, he was second. Lekomsky back in PSGL. He's had a couple of races in PCF2. I believe he's also part of the Polish SOL league, Sol, along with Alan Barazak. As I can see, he's got his full surname on the screen for his Steam name, and then obviously was going to wait for Lukomsky to get in. And in the chat, Jess says Tiger Hardy was a PS F1 champion in season 32, so he's a driver we should definitely be looking out for. And Liam says, show your Red Bull jacket in support for Parnell. I'm not going to wave my PS Red Bull jacket. He's in the background. You can see it. That's enough, Liam. And
this is why I have a pretty much a neutral background, just in case that happens. Saying that, hang on a minute. I do have this alongside me since we're waiting for it as well. Let me just take my headset off.
Is it Ferrari?
Let me show you. Oh no. That's on the wall.
McLaren.
I have an old McLaren hat. That was just
Hamilton
lying inside. It is a Hamilton hat, I believe. I've also got a button one as well. It was just on the side in the commentary box. Don't know why it's in here. I think I
seem to have everything and know everything, Josh.
I don't know. There is so much in this commentary box that is just sort of a mess right now because it's being cleaned up for the end of the season. And literally, if I just go on the floor right now and just pick these up, there's loads of these little post-it notes just hanging around that me and Megan write to each other and throw away during the commentary. And loads of things like the races and all that lot that get done. They all get put on USB sticks. So there's just loads of mess around the commentary box right now, and old notes as well. Look, handwritten notes. Say that no commentator ever does handwritten notes. Those are my notes from Qatar.
A lot.
Well, yeah, because they've got driver notes I have done, driver stats I stick up on the wall, and then a couple of bits that are handwritten. Some get printed out and stuck out. They're out because I've got my track map here, which I colour in. And that's what I've been using for the stats throughout the weekend. So DRS, pit lane, stat maps, everything. That's what I've been talking about throughout the week. So, yeah. The commentary box is a mess, but it has everything we need to talk about. So it just comes in handy to sort of go, right, that's there, that's there, that's there, that's that.
Well,
so, yeah.
It makes me seem a little bit underprepared, which I didn't think I was until today, but I guess it seems I am now. And in the chat, let us know quickly who you think will be the quickest in this session. So we've got SRT, Shazoo, Parnell, ABS, and F7R, which I would say is by far the most competitive lobby in the qualifying. So let's know who you think will be quickest. Declan says Jack West. Julian says Harry. Cooper says ABS. Kian as well from Francesco. Minion says Harry. Harvey says Harry. Well, it seems... Harry Nunn's his very favoured person in the chat. I'm not going to talk about the reasons why. I've seen a bit of things lingering around in the general chat earlier on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems he's very favoured so far. Francesco says F7R as well. So we're going to get into the lobby very shortly. We'll head back over to the game screen. You can see all the drivers on the screen who are taking part. And Xander says Louis Welch. Heatwave says Harry is a fraud. F7R, Broken Britain. Harry... Yeah, so a lot of votes for Harry in ABS, it seems. So they've got to perform. Harry's definitely got to perform. He's got himself his 0.7.
It's going to be a very entertaining lobby coming up. Another last qualifying, 18 minutes, of course, and then we'll know who's where and when. I've got. Currently, it's been modified. I don't know if you're watching, Richie, as well. That spreadsheet. It's been given the 1 to 5 who's qualified. Yeah. So and who's reserved. So.
Okay.
Yeah. To even look at who isn't down as the reserve team is frightening.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's going to be very entertaining.
So
where we go?
Well, we've got a few trials on track. We got SRT Jack West. Obviously, Jack, remember, was a champion last season in PCF2 and, well, didn't finish the Qatar Grand Prix because his wheel disconnected at the final corner on the final lap.
I was watching.
And ended up in the wall, finished P8, and... Well, that was an ideal scenario, but there's no race today, so maybe it can all go to plan for him in this session. He's just heading through towards turns 2 and 3. We've got pretty much everyone out on track apart from Harry and Lukomsky. Obviously, Parnell have got the Red Bulls. We've got ABS in the AlphaTauris, Aston Martins for SRT, Shazoo in the Ferraris, and F7R in the McLarens. But
are you and Dan ready for tomorrow?
I am indeed. It's going to be a very interesting one, and I believe a few of these in here, Daniel and a couple others, are taking part in tomorrow's race. So it gives us.
You're at Suzuka, aren't you?
Yes, Suzuka. Very interesting track. Very great track indeed. And we had a great race last season. So I'm interested to see what it can bring. But Qatar, I believe, is also on that calendar. I believe it's the 2nd or 3rd round. So this gives me a little bit of an idea of what could possibly be happening in
Go
F2
wrong.
at Qatar.
Hopefully, I'll drop in at some point throughout the year
Would be
across
nice.
any tier. If they need a co, I'm around now.
So,
to drop in.
Jack West, he's heading through towards turn 12. So I'm very keen to see what he can do. And last session we'd say, right, who do you think's quickest? We have 1 or 2 drivers we can comfortably say will be quickest. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drivers. I think out of the ones I know that could
Out of
probably
the
be
10.
quickest. Probably
Yeah,
the 10,
I
yeah.
think
Just a couple that I
this
don't
is-
know properly.
This is the most competitive session we're going to see, which means the times are going to be faster, and it's going to be very much hell to try and call it across the combined lap times. But Jack West is doing it down to turn 1.
Yep, heading down towards that first corner for Streamline Racing Team. Remember, they qualified last season. They finished 8th in the standings. They finished ahead of RHG Academy. So they had a very good, 8th isn't good, but they had a very good season considering they bet one of the esports academy teams. So hopefully, the minimum they want to easily qualify themselves through. They've got Jack and Louis, 2 very bright talents. Louis obviously on the controller, probably the best controller player on the game. Jack on the wheel, but still a very, very good driver indeed. So we've got the lap data on. We can have a look as they come out of turn 6 for Jack West, heading through towards turn 7 at the right-hander, down to 4th gear. And this is probably going to be one of the quickest lap times we see when we come to the end of the session, because Jack is a very, very quick qualifier, generally. Heading down towards turn 10, keeps to the inside, down to 3rd gear. We don't normally see drivers go down to 3rd in that section, but Jack has decided he wanted to through there. We come through down in towards turns 12, 13 and 14, the 3 long, flat left right-handers. And then you'll be welcome at turn 15, which is quite a difficult corner. We see many people invalidate there at the moment. He comes through towards there now. Doesn't invalidate, he makes it through very nicely, and with a lot of leeway on that exit curb. He comes through towards the final corner. We'll see what he can do as he heads up towards the line. Bit of a slide though, coming out the final corner, and that could lose him a bit of time. But either way, I think it will still be a very competitive lap as he heads through. What will it be for Jack West? It'll be 1:20.030.
I'm looking at Louis as well, who's actually lost on his lap time. So Louis is back in the pit lane. Tony Richet does a 1:20.117. Tycho Hardy, though, in the McLaren goes fast as a 1:20.017. What about Daniel as well with Jedson? Oh, and look at the golden drop going top, 1:19.9.
Yeah, very nice like that from Keane to put himself up to the top with a 1:19.9. One of the only drivers I think we see make a 19.9 on their banker lap. So very nice indeed. And Harry Nuns has invalidated. He's heading back in towards a pit. Similarkowski goes quickest there with a 1:19.941. Very nice indeed from him for Parnell. Daniel Kjelsen, unfortunately, on the 7th with a 1:20.130. And that isn't what I expected to see from Daniel. I expected to see him in that top 3, top 4. So we'll have to see what he can do. Lou Welch didn't set a lap time, nor did Banishak, who's in P10 currently, and Harry Nuns as well invalidated on his lap. So yeah, big shame. I don't think Louis even went out because he hasn't got the invalidated.
Louis did go out, but
did he?
Yeah, he did, but he came back into the pit lane. Yeah, he was on a validated lap.
Ah, okay, that's good to know. So SRT got 4th and 8th at the moment in this session. F7R looking very strong with a 1:19.9 and 1:20, very close to the 19s for Tycho indeed, on their first run. So they can get themselves maybe a 10th or 2 in these next couple laps. They could easily look to put themselves through in towards E-Series. Shizu, Yulian got 5th with a 1:20.094. His teammate obviously didn't set a lap time, so they've also got to get themselves a decent lap time. Well, Yu's got a decent lap time, but his teammate Banishak needs to get himself a decent lap time. He's on an out lap coming through at turn 1. So yeah, very close in that first session. A 10th and a half separating 1st to 5th, and I think that'll get even closer once we get to the final part of the qualifying. And no, Turkey, there will not be a race. This is just the qualifying. 18 minutes for each lobby. This is the 3rd lobby of 3.
Yeah, final one. A few drivers heading on there on out laps now. Louis out there as well, coming out with the SHG as well. So just looking at the combined already, trying to piece them together in my head. This is very good news for the McLarens. They have the best average at the moment.
They do. They're looking very strong, and I think if Daniel can get himself a good 10th or 2, he could easily, if he can get himself on the back of his teammate, they're also going to have a really good average. So
they're not the worst. That's a surprise for PR.
I think because they finished 2nd in the championship last season, I think they're to date want to get through. I think it will be more than a disappointment if they didn't make it through. So Daniel and Shimon have got a lot of pressure on them because they pretty much need to get through for Parma. If they don't get through, you know, it looks quite bad when you got second in the championship last season as well. Obviously,
Was the
TFM were
prize money the
third.
same? Was the prize money the same last year?
Prize money last year was 1,000. This season it is 750. So still a lot of money to play for. I believe I don't know what the spread is of the prize, but obviously 750
I've
paying
got
across
it
the top
somewhere.
three.
I'm just having a look. I'm having a look at it. I've got it somewhere, but I can't find where it is. On the ending of the results, appeal process, lobby settings. It's somewhere on this document that was given to me, and I can't find it. Prize money. Literally, it's number 2. That's why I couldn't find it. It'll be shared between the top 5 teams. £325 pounds for winners, 200 for second, 100 for third, 75 for fourth, £50 for third.
For fifth.
So
that's very interesting. 5. So all 5, like the top 5, all get themselves a bit of money, which is very nice of them indeed, and gives you a bit of a reward for the hard work all your drivers and the team managers and the engineers put in throughout the season. So Louis Welch heading throughout the wall out of that middle sector. We'll see what he can do through there. It's going to be a 52.743 for the first and second sector combined. We'll see what he can do in the third sector. We'll see what that overall lap will be as he comes through. Out to turn 14, down towards turn 15. Want to just pretty much don't want to lift at all, and Louis does have a bit of a big lift through there, so that could lose him a little bit of time in towards the final corner.
Traffic.
Down to 5th gear, misses that apex a little bit, could also lose him some time through there for Louis, so he has that DRS now as he heads towards the line. His teammates in 4th at 1 minute 20.030. What can Louis Welch do as he heads to the line? He goes quickest with a 1 minute 19.927. Very nice there for Louis Welch. We've got Harry Nuns who's on a lap time. He's heading down in towards the end of that first sector. He does a 26.298 in the first sector. He's coming out at turn 6, currently through towards turn 7. His teammate, Tony O'Shea, on a 1 minute 20.117. That is not going to get you through at this point, I don't think, as Banishrak goes 9th with a 1 minute 20.430. That is also not going to be looking to get you through.
Harry's using too much curb, just riding it too much, losing time across them. Even hugging at the inside line. You don't need to be hugging it through 11 and coming into 12. 13, yeah, hitting every single curb. Just losing you a little bit of time and getting on the AstroTurf as well. Nice engine braking coming through 15. Yeah, he's picked up in the third sector. Everyone's struggling with that second sector today. But again, Harry, too much curb. Way too much exit curb there. Come on, is it a good time? Did you manage to pick it up in that sector? 19, 20? No improvement. 5th, 120.020.
So still 5th, but still not good enough, I don't think, to get yourself into the... Well, nowhere near good enough to get yourself into the 19s. Not good enough, I don't think, to help maybe as qualified. His teammate Tony O'Shea, unfortunately, doesn't set that lap. He had an invalidation coming out of turn 15. We'll go on board with Jack West, who's up by nearly a 10th of a second. He's coming through in towards turn 15 and now shortly in towards turn 16. We'll see what he can set for SRC. So currently Louis Welch is leading it with a 1 minute 19.927. We'll see what Jack West can do at the final corner with the DRS now up towards the line. What will it be for Mr. Jack West? Will it be a 19.9? It'll be a 19.9 and 1,000th quicker than his teammates. So 1,000 separating the two SRTs, a 926 and a 927. We'll go on board with Daniel Kjelsen. He's coming through towards the end of that first sector. He's currently up by just under a 10th of a second. He's heading through out of turn 10 now. We'll see what he can improve on in the second sector. We'll see. Is it good enough to get himself into the 20s at the moment? No, it's not. It's only good enough to put himself onto a 1 minute 20.08, I think, at this point. So it's not ideal. It's not an ideal scenario at all for Daniel and Parnell racing. He comes through in towards turn 15. Then he'll come through in towards turn 16. He needs to really pick it up in this final sector. He heads through and
so much power through that last corner. I thought the car was going to drift round on him.
Yeah, very nice indeed through that final corner. You can see a lot of drivers being very clean in that third sector, and it's only 120.079 of that. Yeah, the legs are going to be shaking a little bit for Par now because that isn't a safe time at all, I don't think, to get you through towards the E-Series, because most drivers who've got through are who are on a 19 at least.
It's such a compact series as well at the top. But looking at this, that average time for SRT would put them fastest overall. So they would go top ahead of Thomas Enger Sim Racing.
Goes first with a 1 minute 19.882. Oh, very nice for him.
Never mind. I stand corrected. Still not faster than the 1:19.737 that we saw from this morning. I believe that was from Frank.
This morning?
So there's that the early one in the day, earlier about an hour ago.
Yeah, that from Franek there was superb, and still no one has beaten it. A 1 minute 19.737, and I don't think we've had anyone else in the 19.7s So
We have not.
absolutely superb from Moraviak, and he's definitely going to be pleased with that one, and I'm definitely pleased with him for that one as well. So we've got a couple of drivers, I think, on laps. No, King Gundup has not gone in lap. He's invalidated. Daniel Hjeltsen's on his way back into pits after setting his lap. So we've got Louis Welsh on out lap. We've got Tony Rashon on out lap. And so is the two Shizus of Ewan and Banajak. They're currently on a 1 minute 20.0 and a 1 minute 20.4.
So everybody just getting ready for the final runs then.
Pretty much,
Trying to
yeah.
work out how much. Yeah, 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, 3 people not out on track, and that's King Gundup, Jack West, and Daniel Hjeltsen. They're in the pits, and they'll probably come back out soon. They've obviously just finished their laps and going to be looking to pop themselves on a new set of tyres and head back out onto circuit. So Louis Welch coming through in towards the final corner. Josh is going to be starting his final lap time and the final lap time for one of the final lap times for SRT this session.
A lot of dirt on his tyres. He comes across the line as well. It's a long run towards the first corner. Heavy on the brakes, as I said. Fifth gear down to 160. Flicks the car in. Long sweeping hairpin. A little bit messy at the exit. Just hooks it up perfectly into 2. Nice exit. Yeah, this is looking very decent. First sector time isn't until after turn 5. So this is 4 and 5 coming up now. Flick the car through. Back on the power gently. Oh, he's lost the lap time. It's gone. Too much exit turn 4. And it's gone in the first sector, and he knows it. Oh,
Big shame
so
for Louis.
annoying.
That is a big shame. But he has got more time. Obviously, we've got 5 minutes left to go, and I didn't realise. I thought we had a lot less than 5 minutes left to go because this session has gone on for a long time. So, yeah, he's definitely got time to get back through. But, yeah, I thought we was only have a minute left. That was, yeah. We've got 5 minutes left. I thought we only had about a minute and a half. So that has gone.
Unless they've reset somehow.
This session's gone very slow, I think. Tiger Hardy is coming through. Currently in the first, well, they had the first sector coming through in the second sector. He's currently on a 1 minute 20.017. His teammate on a 1 minute 19.952. So we'll see what Tiger Hardy has in the bag for F7R. Obviously, they would also be looking to get themselves through into E Series. And, well, from what we've seen so far, it's only a couple of tenths between the top 5 who are qualified at the moment. These 5 teams are still yet to pop themselves in towards the final leaderboards, which is obviously the 2 drivers' combined times. As Tiger Hardy comes through and he makes a big mistake.
No!
Bit of a snap there on the front end of the car as he went into turn 15. That's his lap done. So both of the F7Rs making mistakes on their laps. Harry Nuns is coming down in towards turn 7. He's down in the first sector by half a tenth of a second. So he's got to obviously get it all in this second and third sector. I believe he made a mistake in the third sector as well on his previous lap. So we'll see what he can do as he comes out of turn 10. We'll see if he can get improvements in the second as he comes up towards the into that second sector very shortly. Is it an improvement? No, it's purple for him on our screen, but it is not an improvement. However, it was an improvement on his previous second sector because he did go from 0.57 back to 0.18 back. So he comes through in towards turn 15, then in towards turn 16, and no, he heads back into the pits. So we knew that he wouldn't improve on his lap time. So the top 10, Lekomska leads ahead of Jack West, Louis Welch in the top 10. We have King Gundup, Tiger Hardy, Harry Nuns, Daniel Hjeltsen, Ewan Lenauer, Tony Rashon, and Alan Banajak in the top 10. So I think currently Shizu have got a lot to work with. They've definitely got to gain a lot of time, and so was Daniel in Parnell, currently in 7th on a 1 minute 20.0. I think if anything you want to be at least in the 19s. So it's going to be close, and I think there's going to be a lot of disappointments for some teams because I think there's probably 10 or 11 teams in this qualifying that can get themselves through. Only five have the possibility to do so. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think F7R, they need to improve on their lap times. SRT, I think they're still going to cut it tight with a 0.9 average, aren't they, Josh?
I'm working it out. This is looking quite good at the moment, but yeah, it's right on the limit, isn't it? It's so tight. And everyone is so close together.
You can't call what's going to happen. That's the thing. Normally you have an idea, but everyone so far has been so quick, or at least most of the drivers have been so quick so far in this qualifiers. So yeah, it all comes down to this. The final few minutes of the session, the final lap times for the drivers, the final out laps for the drivers, and this will determine who is through for E-Series and who is not. And there's some big names in, isn't there? There's some very big names in.
So, tension's rising, atmosphere building. Let's see what we've got. This is the last 2 minutes of qualifying now. So Tony Rashon lifting up, bringing out some yellows.
Yep, he's the first driver who's going to set a lap. Then we got one of the Aston Martins of SRT, I believe Jack West, and we got the 2 McLarens, another SRT. Then we got one of the Shizus ahead of the 2 Red Bulls at Parnell, and then the other ABS, which is Harry Nuns, and then finally at the back, the final Shizou driver. So we'll go on board with Tony Roche. He's coming through into turn 15. He's currently on a 1 minute 20.117. To get himself through, would need at least a 1 minute 19.9, I think, or maybe even safer, a 1 minute 19.8. So we'll see what he's got in the bag. Hopefully he can improve. He needs to get at least 0.2 of a second, I think. So a lot of pressure now for Tony Roche. He exits the final corner down in towards turn 1.
So, one more run. Dirty tyres, though. Took a wide line at the exit. A lot of rubbish on him. Hits the brakes. Now, fourth gear, and he made a mistake. He downshifted too much. It's a fifth gear corner, so that's going to lose him a little bit of time. And he's done it again, coming through turn 2. Downshifting when he doesn't need to. Yes, engine braking, but it's not working.
In towards turns 4 and 5, down to 5th gear. And back up to 6. Normally you'd take that in 6, so I suppose it's go down all the way to 5th gear, but it could also be due to the setup of the car. He's up by 10th in the first sector. That's a key improvement there for Roche. That will put him currently on a 1 minute 20 flat, so he needs to get himself another couple of tenths in the second and third sector. Connor says, in his opinion, he thinks it's going to be 0.8 for both drivers to get themselves through in towards the top 5 at E-Series. So, a lot of pressure on every single driver, probably bar similar Komsky. He's currently on a 1 minute 19.8. So yeah, the likes of SRT, Jack and Louis, they've got a lot of... Well, they haven't really got much time to gain, but in a session like this, when the stakes are that high, 30 thousandths of a second is quite a lot of time. So we come through, out of turn 15, well, in towards turn 15, then to 6th gear, then gets flat back on the power through in towards turn 16 now.
There we
go. We'll see what Tony Roche can manage. So he comes at the final corner. He's currently on a 1 minute 20.1. Should easily get himself, I think, into the 1 minute 19s as he heads through towards the line. What will it be for Roche? 19.910. Puts him second, but that will surely get beat. We've got the 2 SRTs coming through. Jack West up by half a tenth of a second. Can he get himself into the 0.8s?
Should be.
Yes, he can. Nearly a 0.7.
802. That's brilliant. What about 2 McLarens? 5th and 6th. Oh, no. Kieran's lost his lap time. Tycho's still going, though. And we've got a spinner for one of the Ferraris. I think that's P10. Tycho Hardy goes second. 119.880.
And Louis doesn't improve. He was a 10th down when he come up towards the line. What about Lekomsky? He's up by 40 thousandths in that second sector. He's heading down in towards turn 15. So Tycho Hardy got himself onto a 0.8. That's very good indeed for him. But Louis Welch, I don't know if that's going to be safe enough with the 927. So
Ewan Lenore. Mighty good time from Lee. Yeah, Ewan has gone second. 119.828. That's great.
Lekomsky goes quickest with a 19.778. So the second driver to get himself into the 0.7s is Lekomsky. Obviously, Frank Moraviec earlier in the first session, and now Lekomsky in the third session. And Banishak has unfortunately invalidated. So I think that is probably Shizou out of it, but they got a driver in the 20.4s. But apart from that, we've got a couple of tenths separating first to ninth. And, well, shortly we get to see the final leaderboards of who will make it through to E-Series. Only 5 teams can make it through, 14 qualified, so the stakes are high for a lot of teams.
It's being worked out right now. Times are being filled in by the stewards, and then we will know exactly who is where. Times being calculated now. It's I tell you what, there's going to be some surprises here, Richie, isn't there? Just taking a look. This is going to be very interesting as to who's been qualified in and who hasn't.
It is. I'm just having a little look at it now as the times have just been entered in. So we popped off the game stream and back onto the camera screen. So at the moment, I don't know if that is it confirmed. I'll wait for the call-off column to say if everything's right. But yeah, it's very close between the top 5 at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm just getting it all up to see if that is it the same.
Obviously, we do have a 6th team, which will be the reserve team, so in case the team drops out.
I'm waiting. We're all looking for official confirmation as well. We need to have it confirmed to us if that is it. I think that is it. Looking at the overall times. Oh, Richie, there is one team with exactly the same time. 2 teams exactly the same combined times. And in that case, I'm going to remind you, Article 12.1 of the regulations here states, in case of identical combined times, the higher placed team will be the one having achieved the single best lap time. So there are teams that have got identical lap times that will, in the combined, that has been set as to who had the overall fastest separate times. So there's a couple of them that look identical. They're just clarifying it now, and then we should have it confirmed to us who are the top 5 going through, plus the reserve team.
There's definitely, I think, in that whole list, one team I'm very, well, I wouldn't say very
Yeah.
surprised, but I'm quite surprised that they haven't made it through at the moment. I'm just waiting for Connor just to double check everything, I believe, before we got underway. But at the moment, the gap between 5th and 8th is about
Not that
15
much.
thousandths of a second.
The gap between the 6th place reserve and who's 7th is nothing. It's identical.
Yeah, it's
And then
very,
the gap
very close indeed.
3rd and 4th have set exactly the same lap times in the combined. It's very, it does look very tasty. We're waiting for official confirmation before we can say to you who it is going through. The 5 teams. Feels like we're at the end of Strictly Come Dancing and just waiting for the results.
It does indeed. And so the provisional results are there. We're going to wait a second just in case anything just changed, because the last thing we want is for us to say, oh yeah, so and so gone through, for them to say, oh sorry, no, something was wrong, so they're not going through. But I believe everything is sorted.
I'm
kind of just doing a
Discord.
double check.
Yeah.
And let's know in the chat. What do you think? What do you think the cutoff will be? So, what do you think is the combined time that you need? So it's a 100. It's a 1 minute 59. But tell us what you think. Is it 0.6, 7, 8, 9? So let's know what you think. So
they're the combined in total. I think it's official.
We will announce it. So obviously, it can be subject to change due to track limits, but for now, this is what it is. So we got 912, 939, not 873. I'll let you know that the cutoff is an 817, a 1 minute 59, 817. So the quickest team of them all was TES, Thomas Shank Sim Racing, with a 159.663 combined. Obviously, that was that laps on there, mainly from Franek with a 737 that got them through. Then second is FVR with a 1 minute 59.683, just 20,000 separating those two. Then we have third for Parnell Racing with a 1 minute 59.729. And then fourth, with the exact same time as Parnell, is SRT with a 1 minute 59.729. Finally, Vroom with a 1 minute 59.817. Then, unfortunately, for ETA Esports, they're sixth, 5 thousandths back. Seventh, ABS, the exact same time as ETA. And then 10 thousandths back from them is F7R in 8th. So, very unfortunate for ETA, ABS, and F7R to be so close, but unfortunately, not make it through.
WR really got hit the worst with that half a second penalty, but they were already with their other driver in a similar position as well. So they're already half a second down to begin with. But the 5 teams, as you say, Thomas Enker Sim Racing, FVR, Parnell Racing, Streamline Racing Team, and Vroom, they're the 5 going through. And ET8 Esports is the 6th reserved team. Yes, ABS has the same time as them, but ET8 set their fastest lap time first, which was a 79.822. That was their fastest time from the situation as well, because ABS had 79.9 and 79.912. So in terms of the fastest first time, ET8 becomes the reserve team.
So
very good. Very good.
I'm just going to quickly run through the teams that didn't make it through. You should probably know which ones they are, but if you just want a clarification. So 6th of the ETA Esports, then we've got 7th for ABS, 8th for F7R, 9th for NLR, then Shazoo were 10th, then we have Intrepid Esports 11th, WR 12th, British Army 13th, and unfortunately Kaizen Racing 14th. They didn't settle that time at all, so they were pretty much at the bottom, which is a big shame for them because they had 2 pretty competitive drivers. Would they have made it through? Probably not, but it's still unfortunate that they didn't get any lap times on the board. So, there we are. The team to go through: TES, FVR, Parnell, Streamline Racing Team, and Vroom. And well, let's on the chat. Any predictions for what you think they'll do in the actual E-Series? Because obviously that's going to be next week. Rain won at, I believe it's Bahrain. So yeah, we're only a week away. And before we head off, we'll have a little look through at the calendar again, in case anyone would like to see it. So as you can see now, obviously there's been some changes since last time. Obviously Bahrain we start off first. Then originally it was Monaco, Interlagos, Silverstone. Now it's Interlagos, Silverstone, Monaco, which is rounds 2, 3, 4. Then we go to Canada for round 5, followed by Kota at round 6. And we have Suzuka at Japan, which is round 1 in the main series, but round 7 here in E-Series. And finally, we end it off at the season finale at Jeddah, which I think, Josh, is a very good calendar, along with the actual main calendar for season 35. They've really cooked up some great calendars this season.
They really have, and I'm looking forward to it. 8 races across 8 Wednesdays on the run up to Christmas. Very, very tasty indeed. Looking forward to it.
So, well, actually, Well, I can't get the times on the screen because I can't get it sorted out on the screen quick enough. But I'm sure afterwards it will be posted on Twitter. It will be posted in Discord as well. And if anyone would like any clarification, I'm sure Connor can also pop it into the YouTube chat as well. So just a reminder: the 5 teams through are TES, FER, Parnell, Streamline Racing Team, and Vroom. And well, that's pretty much all left from us now. We've gone through everything. We've got the 5 through, which will be taking part next week, along with, remember, Ferrari, Sports, Race, Clutch, Williams, RHG, and TF10, who all automatically qualified due to their positions. I think the 5 esports teams got through anyway, but then obviously TF10, who got third in the championship, they got an auto qualification. So, remember, TF10 are still in there. They're not out of it because they didn't qualify. They automatically got qualified. So they're a team as well we should be looking out for in the main E-Series season. But will we, anything from you just before we go? Quickly?
No, nothing. Going to be very entertaining season ahead. 8 races, very entertaining. Qualifying tonight. I am looking forward to seeing what we're going to have next week.
Yeah, so that's all from Josh, from me as well. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us as well for the qualifying stage. It's been a bit of a mess trying to sort everything out, so sorry if everything's been a little bit chaotic and unorganised. But we'll be back next week for the first round at Bahrain. 10 teams going through, £750 at stake. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of practice from all the drivers heading through. So we'll see you next week for round 1, everyone. Have a good evening and a good night.